channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Well, Skip Bayless and Gilbert Arenas will have a show soon, and I think it'll be 3 days a week. Yeah, guys, let's laugh. Let's have a good laugh on this one. And also, let's talk about Shedeur Sanders, right? And I'll tell you guys, I made a video before they was going to give this guy a script, and come on, let's stop. This is, the NFL is destroying itself. We talk about the female or the male cheerleaders now in the league. The NFL, you guys got to think, these leagues don't care no more. These teams are worth billions, or they already have billions. They don't care about anything, man. They just, anyways. Yeah, so the Shedeur Sanders thing, we seen it coming, the racism, holding the black man back, you know, just all this stuff. It's like, come on, guys. This guy, Shedeur Sanders, is not making the NFL. Back in the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, he's the quarterback of today. Nothing is holding this guy back except for they want to write this guy a script. How, you know, they held him back because he was black, and like you can't really do this to a guy who grew up rich, you know, Deion Sanders' son. All this, you really can't do this. This ain't a dude coming out of nothing and, you know, lived in the hood and, you know, lived without, you know, a father, and they're just trying to write this guy a script. You got to remember, this guy has like 13 endorsements, big time endorsements, like, you know, Mercedes, Google, Topps, Nike. He's got all these endorsements, folks, and he hasn't did shit. Excuse my language, but when you're giving this guy all these endorsements and he ain't did shit, okay, what does this mean? It means you're trying to write this guy a script from, you know, what are we going to call the script? I don't know, man. It's a script. I don't know what they're going to call it, but, you know, I've heard this already. Him being held back because he's black. Racism. Like, all the quarterbacks in the NFL are black. The majority of the good ones are black. If not, the majority of them are black. You can't be a white quarterback in this league unless you can run. We all know that by now. You know, it might be a good thing, but it might be a bad thing. We listen to, you know, quarterbacks like, you know, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. They say it's not good. Say it's not good. We talked about last year, the scoring was down in the NFL. I don't know. You look at Lamar Jackson, and he can't do it when it's time to do it with his arm. He can't do it. You got some good black quarterbacks out there that can run and throw. We'll see what happens. Mahomes, you want a quarterback like Mahomes, right? Who can run and throw. The difference is with Mahomes, he's going to run when you least expect it. He's not a run first quarterback. And when he runs, you never know when he's going to run. We'll see with Shedeur Sanders. I just hate this, man. I just hate this. It's just like, no matter, you know, they're playing this. I don't know, man. They're playing this race car with this guy. This the guy that shouldn't even look. I don't know what black people really want. At this point, you can't scream racism with all the minorities in this country. All the minorities they have let in this country, you know, since the 2000s. You know, especially in the big cities. You know, you're full of minorities. If you want to be frank, these minorities don't even help African Americans. Actually, these other minorities come in here and get above African Americans and do better than African Americans when they come in. They have businesses, they have all this stuff. They go ahead of African Americans. African Americans are under, you know, the minorities that are coming in here, have been coming over here. The Asians, the Indians, the Africans, the West Indians. So I want to say these minorities to African Americans are really your friends. They're not. I haven't seen that. Nope. I haven't seen that. And, you know, especially the Latinos. Yep. And I got to be serious about this, especially your mixed race people, minorities that come into this country. Your Indians, Arabs, Asians, and Latinos. Let's remember, these people don't like the black people back in their countries. It's called something like colorism. They don't like the dark skinned people in their country. So when they come over here, you think they're gonna like African Americans? You think they're gonna share with African Americans? You think they're gonna do this with African? No. All this for African Americans, all this was a trick to make you think these minorities would come over here and be hated by the so-called white man and be in the same position you was in because of the so-called white man. Nope, they never was, and they still aren't. Actually, the white man uses them, if you want to say, and puts them ahead of you. Yep. Well, I won't say that. It's when you say stuff like that, oh, show proof. Well, I guess you would have to show like written proof, but when you, I wouldn't say they just get together and say, oh yeah, you in front of the black man. But if you take like the labor industry, right, the construction industry, the truck driving industry, all just labor industry, who's in front of you? Yep, they brought over all these Latinos who worked in labor industry, and you got to think that itself, helped gentrify the black community, because when the Latinos came over and still keep coming over and took over the labor industry, that took a lot of jobs out of the black community. Millions and millions and millions and millions out of the black community. We're talking about from warehouse work, factory work, you're talking about road work, you're talking about all phases. When we say construction, a lot of people get it confused. Construction is like a lot of phases, man. It's like carpet, tile, drywall, roofing, concrete, framing. Man, it's so many different phases. Landscaping, lawn care. Oh my goodness. Crown molding, fencing. It's so many different phases in like construction. It's hard to even put a finger on it. When you're talking about different phases in construction, man, it's a lot of different phases. Let's just say to build a house, you're talking about stucco. You're talking about painting. All those things I just mentioned, man. It's a lot of stuff that goes in so many different phases to build a house, build a commercial building. All those jobs go to the Latinos. They don't go to blacks. So I'm just saying, these people have never come over here to help so-called African Americans. When I say African Americans, I mean the people who can't say, yeah, I know my family's from, a direct place. Like if you say your family's from Jamaica, or Barbados or Jamaica or Senegal or Trinidad, you're not considered an African American in the United States. You're not. That's not considered African American. Now, if you want to call yourself if you was born here, if you want to call yourself a Black American, yeah, that's fine. But you're not considered. I wouldn't even call myself Black American. I would call if I was from one of them places, I could call myself American Jamaican. That's what I would call myself. If I knew where my people was from, the direct place, my parents came over here at a certain point, or American Barbados. That's what I would call myself. That's just how it is. But if you supposedly came directly from the United States, from the so-called the fake African American slave trade, then you're considered African American. That don't mean you got to be one. I'm saying that's what you're considered. That's when you're a foundational Black American with that fake African American story. But yeah, for African Americans, so-called African Americans, immigrants haven't been their friends. I just don't even see how it's possible. It ain't possible. These people are come here to, from these poor countries. They come over here and get a piece of this, man, and live rich. Back in the day, how it used to be, immigrants used to have to start from the bottom. They used to have to start from the bottom. Not so much since the 2000s. Since the 2000s, these immigrants come over here and start in the middle and then go to the top. They don't start at the bottom. If I've been seeing in my city, I live in a big city, and it's diverse with all kind of, people from all around the world. And these people don't start on the bottom. They start in the middle and go the hell up. I'm like, damn, y'all don't even know any English. Y'all already in the damn middle. Damn, that's crazy. So You know, the United States, the whole school system is a joke. You got people coming over here starting in the middle who don't, and I ain't talking about like doing bad. They're starting in the middle, living in, you know, good neighborhoods already. It's like, boom. I was born in the damn projects. So we're talking about like the projects back in the days, back in the 80s and the stuff like that. Those projects that got started back then. Well, I guess you could say the late 70s, although it wasn't all that bad back then, but till the late 80s. But yeah, these immigrants, they start in the middle now. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. You ain't went to one day of this American school? Your people didn't put in nothing in this country? Wow. Your grandparents and great-grandparents and great-grandparents didn't go to war in this country? Wasn't in no civil war? Wasn't in no war of independence? Wow, you just come over here and start in the middle. That's crazy. Before you know it, in like 4 years, these people living in damn, you know, mansions and, you know, especially the Indians. The Indians, wow. The Indians and the Asians? Wow. It's just crazy how these people can literally come from third world conditions and then come over here and start in third world conditions is worse than hood conditions. Not even close. They live in third world conditions and then come over here and start in the damn middle. And start in the middle. And then in 4 years, they having all this stuff. Teslas and $400,000 houses, $800,000 houses, $1 million houses. They don't even know no English. They didn't really put in nothing as far as their people in this country. And I ain't talking about just because you're the same race of some people that been up in this country that, you know, you're exactly counting those people as your people that put in something in this country. Oh, no. I'm talking about your bloodline people putting in something in this country. Hell, how many Asians and Indians in Arabs do you even see fighting in the military? Dying for this country. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, you know, we got on this subject because the Shedeur Sanders. We're going to hear this script pretty soon. You held a black man down. You held this black man down. He out, you know, played these other white quarterbacks in minicamp and preseason. And first of all, preseason is trash. Second of all, preseason is trash. I didn't watch preseason this year. I said, I'm not going to do it. It's a joke, man. Why am I going to watch that? It don't mean nothing. But, you know, why not let the man start? The team is trash. So, yeah, here comes the script. He's going to be a third-string quarterback. Maybe one of the quarterbacks going to end up getting hurt. But the fact is, the quarterback who's starting in front of him, he's going to do trash. He ain't going to be good. And then, you know, here comes Shedeur Sanders to the rescue, right? Probably, I don't know, maybe halfway through the season, something like that. And he balls out, right? Because the whole NFL is built around the way he plays. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be around the way he plays. That's how the NFL is. It's a run-throw system. And like I said, I don't know if it's good or bad that the NFL is like that. I mean, whatever. But we all know you can't really touch these quarterbacks no more. So they're getting away with a lot of, you know, running that they couldn't get away with in the past. So, you know, maybe he'll come in halfway through the season. He'll do good. And I don't know if they'll go to the playoffs, but, you know, the hype machine will be around him. Look, man, you held a black man back. If he would have played the whole season, they could have made the playoff, all this crazy stuff. Because, you know, you got all these clowns on ESPN. They need a job and they need something to talk about, right? You don't have good analysts at ESPN anymore. You have all these, you know, well-to-do Negroes that's going to scream racism for a well-to-do Negro that grew up well-to-do. Shedeur Sanders. I'm not going, see, a lot of your, you know, YouTube channels, they will go with the script. You know, they have to go with the black and white script so they can get patted on the back by massa and stuff like that. But this is what it's going to be. What it's going to be. This is your NFL this year. Shedeur Sanders being held back because of racism. Then he's going to come back and he's going to prove that, you know, racism shouldn't exist in 2025, right? And it's just predictable, man. It's bad theater. It's a bad script. we're talking about Gilbert Arenas and Skip Bayless having a show. Why not? Why not, folks? I mean, why not when it's just going to be AI show, AI deepfake? And I told you guys, they've been down pull Skip off the scene. If you notice, the Skip, the ESPN Skip, up until, the undisputed Skip, I want to say it was maybe, 2015. I think that was the last of the Skip, right? They pulled Skip off the scene and replaced him with another Skip, right? Skip graduated and went on, right? This ain't, if you go look at Skip, his mannerisms, the way he did stuff in the past, the way he was real stout about his arguments, just real stout as a person, the way he talked, I think they replaced him about in 2016. And then he became, a LeBron James butt licker. That's one thing. If you know Skip, if you watch Skip from ESPN all the way until 2015, Skip, no way Skip would ever lick LeBron's butt. And that's what Skip ultimately start doing. This new Skip. And like I said, you could just look at him. If you would have to go back and really just understand and look how Skip presented himself, the things he would say, his mannerisms, all this stuff back in the day that made Skip. It made, debate shows what they were. If it wasn't for Skip, you wouldn't have debate shows. People talk about Woody Page, but he was weak. He wasn't stout like Skip Bayless, okay? A lot of us forget about the real Skip Bayless of the beginning until 2015. You wasn't going to talk to Skip like that back in the day. Like, Skip eventually started getting talked to by Shannon Sharpe, but that was the replacement Skip Bayless. That wasn't the old Skip Bayless, because even when, go look at it, even when Shannon Sharpe and Skip got together, oh boy, Shannon Sharpe, he couldn't fuck with Skip. Skip would give it to him, boy. Skip would give it to him. So yeah, they're gonna have a show, man. Why not? Probably Skip's show right now. It ain't nothing but AI deepfake. That's all you got right there. Anybody can have a show. What I do now, when I watch like YouTube and stuff like that, all these, everybody's got AI channels now, right? AI deepfake podcast channels, platforms, whatever like that. So sometimes I'll be on there skipping through these shorts or whatever like that, and I'm like, nice AI generated channel, nice AI generated channel, nice AI generated channel, nice AI deepfake podcast. I just put that on there. You have fools now that have everybody has Michael Jordan videos. Everybody. How they get this? Well, through AI now. Michael Jordan in this country, Michael Jordan doing this interview, Michael Jordan, everything. AI deepfake. That's all it is. And it just ain't Michael Jordan. It's everything. Everything is AI deepfake. Yep. You got to remember, this is how these basketball players are able, I'm about to say aloud, able to podcast during the season. They're not there. I'm trying to put you guys up on game. They're not there. This is what's so crazy. Now, they don't actually have to be there to do this stuff. It's all in AI. And they got the good AI too. They don't have what we have. See, because most of your AI, you can tell what it is. If it starts glitching, after I think you can only get like 8-second clips or something like that. Your clips will only go your AI clips will only go 8 seconds, and then it'll glitch and start over. Like clips that they get put together or whatever like that. But you can tell because the clip will, edit, glitch or whatever like that into another clip. That's when you know it's AI. Now, the people who have money, like NBA players and Joe Rogan and, just the rich people, we can't get the AI that they got. You will never know that their podcasts, their channels, all that stuff that they put out is AI, because it doesn't glitch and edit as it goes on to the next clip. They got the money. So, yeah, Skip Bayless. Gilbert Arenas, what a joke. You got to remember, this guy just went to jail for gambling. And they were saying all kind of stuff, the worst stuff in the world. Like he had prostitutes in there and stuff like that. To, you know, the guys would come in there and gamble. The women get in massages and have sexual acts with them and stuff like that. They paid, and all this different stuff. Some people were saying he had underage girls in there working. But yeah, he had a legal casino in there betting on games. And you know, when you start talking about this, and he knows NBA players, wow. I won't even say nothing about that, but yeah, this is who Skip is doing a show with. This is Stephen A. Smith was hosting Gilbert Arenas' show the other day. AI deepfake. You got, you know, Stephen A. with his show, AI deepfake. These people aren't there, folks. That's why you see everybody now. You see dudes you never heard of. Well, not never heard of, but you haven't seen them for years, sports players, and now they got their own channel because they're not there, folks. Everybody's jumping on this to make money because they don't have to actually be there. They can do have a channel that's perfection because you're not actually talking. All the AI needs is, well, I think you will actually have to make a couple videos maybe, so the AI will get your mannerisms, you know, the way you talk, you know, the sound of your voice, you know, and stuff like that. And then after that, you won't have to make another video. The AI will take over. And it's good if you get, like, you know, you get a few videos under your feet so the AI really can, you know, get you in detail. The way you talk, the way you act, the way you know, everything. Your mannerisms, everything like that. But, you know, that's what everybody's doing now. All they need to do is pay for the AI's program. And that's it. But yeah, that's just for us, folks. I mean, what the rich people have is, you know, like the president coming up and giving a presidential speech. He's not really there. And everybody in the background laughing and talking or doing whatever. And, you know, it's all AI. And from what I learned, most of your stories on the news now is AI. Say, oh, it was a bank robbery, or this happened, and I show you this story. It's all AI. All AI generated. So we're living in some scary times, folks. We don't know what's real. I told you the other day, it was like this orchid attack at SeaWorld, and it was going around for like weeks. And, you know, this thing was getting all kind of views, and, you know, people still, you know, other people's story, and they'll try to, you know, do it too. So this thing was going around, and people was making money off of this, and it was fake. They finally came out and said that the lady, the trainer of the orchid, the killer whale, never existed. She was fake. And they played with people's emotions for weeks. And, you know, they got my wife, and I was like, no, this can't be real. Let me look this up. And I looked it up. It wouldn't come up. And I was like, no, this can't be real. And I'm like, why's all these clips on social media saying this in detail, but there's no news story, no, you know, headline news, no real news, no local news, no nothing. And then on top of that, they, like I said, they finally came out and said, yeah, it's fake. This the whole story was based on a orchid attack, killer whale at SeaWorld attack that happened on a trainer. I think this was like back in the 90s or maybe the early 2000s. They was doing a reenactment. How crazy is that? And they got away with it. So all this stuff is out here that's fake, man. People doing, you know, anything you can think of. People coming on and they're saying, oh, the world is messed up. You know, the world is depopulating. Your food is being poisoned. Anything you can think of. People in gyms working out, you know, fitness influencers, you know, people cooking food. Anything you can think of that you strolling through on social media, it is fake. Those days, especially if you see that somebody just talking and then they edit into a next clip, that's fake. 100%. But some of these people done got to the status to where you don't even know. It won't even edit and glitch into another clip. That's how much money they got down, some of these guys. Yeah, it's pretty scary, man. It's pretty scary. This is Hollywood stuff. The government been having this for a long time, folks. When I say Hollywood, and they're the same people, man. So Hollywood's been having this for a long time. All this fakery. This is how they was able to bring you all these movies and make these people look, a certain way, the way they look and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a joke. You don't know what's real no more. We don't know Gilbert Arenas even went to jail, man. We don't. We don't know. He's one of them anyways. He might have just been doing the, what do they call that? Humiliation ritual. Right? And who did they just replaced Shannon Sharp with somebody? Who the hell was this? I think for ESPN. It was a pretty big name too. I can't remember. Oh, Cam Newton. Go see how much this guy made in his career, folks. And I'm not trying to hate on a black man's money, but it's just like the NBA, folks. When these guys retire, these guys need a job. Cam Newton has been acting like a clown. I don't know what to me, that's like one of those. Let me see how much money this guy earned. So, in 11 seasons, he earned $111 million. I don't know. He's coming on ESPN. He's just a weirdo to me, man. He just acts weird. It's like, these dudes don't give off no male energy. And they put them with these women. And it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like these women are just their friends or something on the side to, make them look good or something. But it ain't nothing manly about the way they act, man. They love long hair more than women do. These dudes with their hair. I mean, they act real sassy. That's what these dudes act. They act real sassy, man. I just can't get with it, man. So yeah, Cam Newton is gonna be on here, and he's gonna be acting like a clown, because that's what he acts like on his podcast. He acts like a clown. That's what he acts like. And I'm not trying to say, a lot of people, oh man, what you want? Then to act like a thug and all this stuff. It's like, but I don't know. These dudes act like, I don't know. But that's what they do act like sometimes. They act like they're like these thugs, but sometimes they act feminine. Like this whole thing was going around a long time ago. They called them homo thugs, right? That's a term that came out in hip hop in I want to say the 2010s. Because all these gay rappers start coming out and stuff like that, so they call them homo thugs. And that's what some of these dudes like Cam Newton acts like. One minute he act like he's all conservative, next minute he act like he from the streets. It's like, just act normal, dude. Just act normal. And then next thing you know, these dudes will be, they have to pump out this black oppression stuff. It's just like this is what's be so crazy. Like the white people will be gone out of the United States and black people will still be screaming racism. Like, I don't even know, man. It's just old. I just don't even see it I don't even see it no more. Maybe I'm in a different city, but in my city, I see all the brown people with all the fucking jobs. We still screaming racism. I don't get it. Maybe not the office jobs, but I don't know. And then we want to talk about office jobs. Yeah, a lot of black people are cheated out of office jobs, but hey, guess who's in front of them? I see all kind of other different minorities that get in front of African Americans in the job. In the office jobs, I see Latinos, I see Indians, I see Arabs, all these people jump in front of black people. The African Americans, the same people that, they fight to get over here, these same people, just like jump in front of them. It's nuts. I don't get it. You could thank Martin Luther King for that. You know, it's so funny because, you know, where I live at, and, you know, if you go to different parts of where I live at, like, less black people even live on Martin Luther King Boulevard Avenue. I don't know what they call it. And many of these black people now, you know, they don't live in black neighborhoods no more. They live in, especially the ones, you know, that ain't even born here. A lot of them, well, in my city, they just come from other states and stuff like that. And but if you go to my in my city, no, on Martin Luther King Day, black people come from the suburbs to go march on to go to Martin Luther King parade. It's just crazy stuff in the world, and then they go home, Yep. No black people with money live in the black neighborhood no more. Nope, they don't. More, I would say more white people and more other ethnicities, minorities. You know, like mostly Latinos live on Martin Luther King. Live in, you know, those black neighborhoods now. They've been gentrified. Now everybody wants to live in the inner city. Now everybody wants to live in a black neighborhood because the black people done left. Let's be real. Black people done got put out. They done fixed up the streets, fixed up the houses, all this stuff, and made everything new now. Now everybody, now now the system has money to give out for the black community, but it didn't have the money before. Once the black people got out, guess what? Now they got money. Now they got money. But we'll see how this works out in like 30, 40 years, see how it, you know, works out, because where I live at, more black people living in the suburbs than I've ever seen in my life. It's unbelievable, because you would never think that back like in the 80s, 90s. The only people lived in the suburbs really back in the day was white people. Maybe, you know, a sprinkle of Asians, Indians, and stuff like that. But no, it's where I live at is highly concentrated with black people. Suburb where I live at, I told you, it's a mixed race culture down here where I live at in the city. And, you know, you just have a lot of black people that live in the suburbs and Spanish people. That's why I say the majority of them live in the suburbs. And then, you know, you get to your upper echelon suburbs, and then, you know, you get into the whites and the Indians and the stuff like that. Maybe your Arabs and stuff like that. The ones who have, you know, real money and stuff like that. But so we'll see what happens with this Shedeur Sanders, man. But this Gilbert Arenas thing, it's a joke, man. It's a clown act. And why not, man? You could say what you want, do what you want now. You don't even have to show up to work. These guys ain't showing up to no damn podcast. They ain't there, man. They ain't there. They got the money, and they can say and do what they want, you know. And it's just how it is, man. We're suffering through AI. This is the NFL this year is going to be a clown act, man. They're taking the NFL away from us, and they're going to turn this thing into a soap opera, 95% soap opera, like they did with LeBron James in the NBA. It's sad, man, but it's where it is, man. You can see now they're selling off these NBA teams and stuff like that. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Sports is over, man. You can see it coming when they got rid of American baseball, and you know, you can see they don't really got rid of American NBA when your top 5 players are international, and they don't even promote the game. Now the NBA, if you look on the NBA website or NBA YouTube channel, they're promoting these NBA players playing international games now in Europe. Yep, they're promoting their numbers, their stats, and the tournament over there. So that's what the NBA is doing now. That's what the NBA is doing now. It's crazy. They're promoting NBA players over there playing all over there. They don't care if they get hurt. They got contracts to fulfill, all this stuff. Now you come back and you play in the regular season, and you're out of gas because you've been playing over there. Like, what? But yeah, they're promoting the European leagues and all this stuff. The NBA is over, folks. The American NBA is over. So we'll see what they do with this NFL, because you saw what the NFL has been doing in the Super Bowl promotion of NFL Africa, right? So they're going to start bringing all these Africans over here to the NBA, and they're going to use the Africa as a pipeline for players, right? So they can get them on the cheap. That's what it's going to be, folks. So it looks like the NFL is going downhill. They're going to do the same thing they did in the NBA, because it looks like it's just cheap labor to me. They won't ever tell you how much these guys are really making, because it'll really hurt their bottom line as far as value for the teams and what they're supposed to be charging you. But we already know a lot of these big organizations like the Lakers and the Celtics and the Bucks and blah blah blah, so they've been selling off, because the NBA ain't worth squat. All they can do is tell you a value that you can't confirm, and that's it. But what I'm trying to say is they know the value is going to keep going down in the future. It ain't worth squat. Nobody's watching it. They're just telling you these guys making all this money. But how? Nobody's watching it. Nobody's buying the merch. You're just making up stuff. Like you're paying these WNBA players money for not even making any money for the league. So time to wake up, folks.